I want everyone that comes to a USF game to remember Tim Derksen and what he was able to establish for this program. I want to be a guy that every single player can come to and look for help and know that I'm going to have their back.
Derksen, he'll try for three to tie.
Oh, man.
He is hard-nosed, he is tough, he is unselfish, he is about the team all the time.
If you tell him, hey, I want you to break through that brick wall, he will find a way to do it, or he'll die trying. He has put in a lot of time and invested a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in this program. And the finality of it all, when you come to realize that, hey, this is my last year, this is my last opportunity to make an impact, to leave my mark on this program.
Having been here for 4 years, you no longer have to force the issue of trying to be that guy and make an impact in every single game. There's kind of a natural flow to it. You kind of have that attitude that, yeah, I've been here before, I know what we need to win this game.
Ahead for Derksen, layup, scores! And USF escapes. Tim Derksen with 3.8 to go, and the Dons win the game. Wow! Would you believe?
I may not seem like an emotional person, but when it comes to talking about like my family and my dad, like that's something that's really hard for me to talk about, because I don't think anyone could ever really understand like my life prior to college basketball, because it's always been basketball.
We had this little plastic basketball hoop thing in the kitchen, and he would just sit in the kitchen and play with that basketball hoop and play and play and play. And then when he got older, he would go to the gym every day with his dad.
You don't really see high school coaches bringing a baby like in a stroller and leaving him on the baseline during a whole practice. And that's what I did every single day. Every single day after elementary school, I'd go to the high school and I'd sit there and watch practice. I can't remember a day where I wasn't sitting in the gym.
Tim understood right away. His dad was a coach and he loved basketball and how dedicated his dad was, and just, he always took it in, he always listened, he'd always ask questions about the game.
I was definitely his biggest fan. He was like the god of basketball. Anything my dad said went. And there were some practices or workouts that he would have me doing where I'd go home crying to mom, or I'd be upset, or those car rides where we'd be driving for 2 hours and there wouldn't be a word, to either one of each other, but you knew it was because, he cared so much about me and he loved me so much.
Our biggest strength was the mental part of the game. We always had a way of being able to, talk to each other as a coach and a player and a father and a son.
That makes that relationship really special, because when I finally got towards high school, the roles kind of switched.
We knew he'd obviously go to Amphi to play basketball. And so it was a really big decision what Pat was going to do, because would he stay the head coach and coach Tim, or would he step down and let Tim have his own basketball kind of career and spotlight?
Tim always said, well, you can't retire until you coach me. And I said, Tim, no. He said, I'll always be your coach.
So Pat stepped down as head coach for Tim, and everyone knew it was the right thing, but luckily his assistant coach became the head coach, and his assistant coach said, you know what, you're going to be here at everything watching, why don't you be my assistant coach? They went to state all 4 years and won a state championship, and it did get to be about Tim, and it got to be how he played, and yet Pat got to be a part of all of that.
The state championship game ended up being kind of a runaway game. Tim played, really well, and the team played really well. And after the game was over, and teams all jumping up and down and hugging each other and all that kind of stuff. And then I remember our eyes met. We went together and gave each other a big hug. It was a great moment.
I mean, our relationship is closer than anyone else in my entire life, and you know, that's how it'll always be.
Oh, this is where we never played one-on-one because he would just tackle me to the ground. Got one more shot at greatness.
He loves his son unconditionally, been a great father figure, been a great friend, but also he is man enough to put the team first, and that's really impacted Tim.
I made sure that because I was that successful in high school, having a relationship that close with my dad, that I needed to have that in college to kind of have that same experience and that same atmosphere for myself. And I love Coach Walters, and I don't think I would have accepted anything less than that when I came into this program. And he was someone that was going to be in the gym with me, you know, the same amount of hours my dad was in with me, and I put more time in with Coach Walters than I have with probably anyone else, you know, other than my dad. He's definitely, you know, given me that father figure that I haven't been able to have for 4 years.
And it's senior night here at War Memorial. Rex Walters said, I don't want to think about not having this guy, man. I mean, Tim Derksen's been very good here for 4 years.
I honestly never thought that this day would come. You know, college basketball was something that was just, you know, a dream. And now that I'm, you know, here doing it, it's always been kind of like an icing on the cake type of situation. And now that I've finally put in that 4 years and made it through, it's just, it's sad.
For seniors, it's emotional because every single day builds up to that moment on senior night when you stand there and you get your jersey and a plaque, and your parents come out and walk out with you the last time in front of, you know, all the Don faithful. You can't help but tear up, and you sit there and you think about all the moments you had with a guy like Tim.
You know, what he's been for me, what he's been for our program, how we represent our school, our, you know, everything.
We talk about the beautiful dance, but that's one of the most beautiful things you can see is when a guy is committed to something, stuck with it, and then graduated. Because it's easy to start things in life, but it's very, very hard to finish things.
Senior night's all about, you know, Tim and celebrating Tim, and then celebrating the people that are, you know, have made a difference in his life.
There's the Derksen family. Tim rocks the Hilltop, I believe is what they say.
Oh, Tim has rocked the Hilltop for 4 years. You bet he has.
Derksen pops out, now goes into the lane. Left-handed sweep shot, good.
I think that Tim deserves this. I think he's worked really, really hard and given up a lot of things that college kids might be doing to deserve this.
Derksen for three! He's got 24 points.
Tim Derksen's coming off the floor. He had a great game. He's had an unbelievable career. Congratulations to Tim. The guy's a winner. He's a winner. He's going to be sorely missed.
So a terrific performance by the senior Tim Derksen in front of the home crowd for the last time in his career.
It's been an unbelievable 4 years, an unbelievable career that has been nothing but positive and nothing but a great story that I'll be able to have for the rest of my life.